Have you ever noticed how sleep changes after 60? For many, it's not just about falling asleep. It's about staying asleep. Nights become fragmented. You wake up at 2 or 3 a.m., eyes wide open, and the room feels too still. You're tired, but somehow rest won't come. This isn't just your imagination. Sleep naturally shifts as we age. Hormonal changes, medical conditions, medications, they all have a hand in it. But that doesn't mean we're powerless. Far from it. There's something comforting in knowing that a few gentle shifts in our daily rhythm can bring real rest back into our lives. And not the kind of rest that comes from a sleeping pill. I'm talking about the kind of deep, peaceful sleep that makes you feel safe in your own skin again. It often starts with something very simple. Predictability. Our bodies are built to love rhythm. Not just in music, but in our daily lives. Waking at the same time. Sleeping at the same time. Even eating meals at regular hours. These quiet signals tell your body what to expect, and over time, they can make sleep come more naturally. There's a woman I once met. She was in her early 70s, recently retired. Without the structure of work, her nights slowly became unpredictable. Some nights she'd stay up past midnight watching old movies. Other nights she'd head to bed early and lie awake anyway. She thought this was just part of getting older. But once she began gently training her body to follow a regular schedule again, waking at the same time even on weekends, she noticed a shift. It didn't happen overnight, but within a few weeks, her mind and body began to anticipate rest at the right time. Her sleep grew deeper, and her mornings grew calmer. But the clock isn't the only thing whispering to your body. Light plays a powerful role too, especially the kind of light we rarely think about, the glow from screens, phones, tablets, television, even e-readers. They all give off a type of light that tells your brain it's still daytime, that it's not quite safe to rest yet. There's a man who used to fall asleep with the TV on every night. He said it kept him company, but he also noticed that, more often than not, he'd wake up around 3 a.m., confused, restless, his heart beating a little too fast. When he tried turning the TV off an hour before bed and replaced it with soft music or an audiobook, his body began to wind down in a gentler way. It wasn't just the silence. It was the invitation to step away from stimulation, to give the mind permission to slow down. This wind down time, it matters more than we think. Because sleep isn't something we do, something we allow. And creating the right environment for it to arrive is one of the greatest kindnesses we can offer ourselves. That brings me to the space we sleep in. A bedroom can either be a sanctuary or a source of quiet tension. Temperature plays a bigger role than we often realize. As we age, our bodies don't regulate heat the way they used to. A room that's just a few degrees too warm can keep you tossing and turning all night. Most sleep experts recommend keeping things cool, but not cold. Somewhere between 65 to 68 degrees tends to work well for many older adults. Then there's light. Even a small sliver from a street lamp or the glow of a charging phone can disrupt your body's natural sleep rhythm. One woman I spoke with, a widow living alone, used to leave a hallway light on at night, more out of habit than need. Once she replaced that with a soft nightlight and added blackout curtains to her bedroom, she began to fall asleep faster. She said she felt held by the darkness, like it was finally okay to let go. Noise matters too. Some people prefer quiet. Others need a gentle hum. A fan, a white noise machine, or the sound of rain playing softly in the background. What's important is creating a sense of consistency. The kind of auditory comfort that tells your nervous system, you're safe here. You can rest. And the bed itself, it's worth asking. Does it truly support your body the way it needs to now? As we age, pressure points shift. A mattress that once felt fine might now feel stiff or unforgiving. Soft sheets, a breathable blanket, a pillow that supports without straining. These aren't luxuries. They're tools for deep rest. Of course, what we put into our bodies in the evening also plays a part. Caffeine is an obvious one, but it hides in more places than we expect. Dark chocolate, black tea, even some pain relievers can contain enough caffeine to keep sleep at bay. And the older we get, the longer it tends to stay in our system. Alcohol too can be misleading. It might make you drowsy at first, but it often leads to shallow sleep and early waking. That same man who stopped watching TV late at night also chose to replace his evening wine with a warm, non-caffeinated tea. He noticed fewer 3 a.m. wake-ups, And when he did wake, he found it easier to drift back to sleep. Even large or heavy meals too close to bedtime can make your body work harder than it wants to. Digestion takes energy, and if your stomach is busy breaking down food, it's harder for the rest of you to power down. A light evening meal, ideally eaten a couple of hours before lying down, can go a long way. And if hunger shows up later in the evening, something simple, a banana, a few almonds, warm milk maybe, not to fill, just to soothe. These habits might not sound groundbreaking, and maybe that's the point. They're small, gentle, often overlooked. But sometimes what sleep really needs is consistency, a sense of rhythm, signals that say the day is done. You are safe now. It's okay to let go. And when you start layering these little changes together, a bedtime that stays the same, a darkened room, a quiet hour before sleep, a body that isn't overstimulated or overfed, that's when the shift begins. It won't always be perfect. There may still be nights when sleep doesn't come easy, but over time your body will begin to remember how to rest. And this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore what to do when you wake up in the middle of the night and can't fall back asleep, how movement during the day helps more than we think, and how writing, breathing, or even 5 quiet minutes can make all the difference. But before we go there, maybe pause. Let this sink in. Has anything here reminded you of your own routines? Is there one small thing you feel ready to try tonight? And if you feel like someone you know could use these reminders too, don't keep them to yourself. Sometimes the quietest truths are the ones that travel farthest. Sometimes, even when we do everything right, we go to bed at the same time, we dim the lights, we eat lightly, we put the phone away, sleep still slips away. And more often than not, it's not the falling asleep that's the hardest part. It's waking up in the middle of the night, suddenly alert, as if some invisible thread of rest just snapped. You lie there, eyes open. The room is quiet, but your mind is not. Thoughts circle. The clock ticks louder than it should. And the longer you lie there, the harder it feels to drift back into sleep. If this happens to you, you're not failing. You're not broken. This is common, especially in later years. What matters most is what you do next. Instead of forcing yourself to stay in bed, tense and frustrated, try getting up gently. Not turning on bright lights. Not checking your phone. Just quietly stepping into another room. Maybe sitting in a favorite chair and doing something soothing, like reading a few pages of a book, listening to calming music, or simply breathing in the quiet. One woman shared that when she wakes in the middle of the night, she doesn't fight it anymore. She lights a small candle, writes a few lines in her notebook, not about anything in particular, just a few thoughts to let her mind breathe, and often finds herself naturally yawning again within 20 minutes. There's no need to punish your body for waking. Sometimes, it just needs a bit of kindness before it's ready to return to rest. And while nights matter, what we do during the day may be just as important. Many people don't realize that sleep begins in the morning. The moment we open our eyes, we start setting the stage for how our body will wind down later. Daylight is powerful. It helps reset your internal clock, reminding your body, this is day, and later, rest will come. Spending even 20 minutes outside in natural light, especially in the morning, can make a noticeable difference in sleep quality at night. And then there's movement. We don't need to run marathons. Just moving our bodies enough to feel the blood flowing. A walk around the block, gentle stretches, light gardening. It all helps regulate our energy. There was a man in his early 70s who began walking every morning after breakfast. Just 15 minutes. At first he said it felt pointless. He still woke up tired, still had trouble sleeping. But after about 2 weeks he noticed something. His body started to feel sleepier at night, in a good way. Not heavy, just ready. Activity during the day helps build up what scientists call sleep pressure, the natural desire to rest that grows stronger when we've used our bodies. Without movement, that pressure never builds. And sleep doesn't come as easily. But of course, even a body that moves can be held back by a mind that won't quiet down. So many of us carry thoughts to bed. Worries, regrets, to-do lists that no longer belong to us but somehow still linger. And sometimes, especially when living alone, the silence of night gives those thoughts more space than we'd like. One gentle way to meet them is by writing. Nothing complicated. Not a journal entry. Just a note to yourself. Maybe a sentence that starts with, "Today I felt," or, "Right now I'm thinking about." There's something about putting a thought on paper that makes it smaller, less heavy, easier to let go of. Others find comfort in simple breathing practices. Not the kind you need an app or a teacher for. Just sitting still, placing a hand on your chest, and taking a few slow breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Some count to 4 as they breathe in, hold for 4, and breathe out for 4. Not as a rule, just as a rhythm. A way of telling the body you're safe. You can soften now. There's a woman I know. She lost her husband after 40 years of marriage. Nights were the hardest. Not because she wasn't tired, but because the quiet felt louder than anything she could bear. She started writing down 3 small things she was grateful for each evening. Not big things. Sometimes it was as simple as the sunlight through the curtain, or the sound of birds this morning. It didn't erase the grief, but it gave her mind something steady to return to. A thread of warmth, even on the coldest nights. The truth is, sleep isn't always just a physical process. It's deeply emotional. It asks us to release control, to trust, to allow rest, even when life feels unfinished. That's not easy, but these small practices, writing, breathing, noticing light, moving gently, they build a foundation. One that tells your body and your heart, you are cared for, even when no one else is around to say it out loud. And maybe that's the most powerful thing we can offer ourselves at this stage of life, the quiet decision to care each night in small, steady ways. Over time, these habits begin to weave together. A rhythm forms. Not perfect, not without bumps, but softer, safer. And in that rhythm, sleep becomes possible again. Not just the kind that knocks you out, but the kind that holds you, restores you, makes you feel like yourself when you wake up. So tonight, if the bed feels unfamiliar, if rest feels far away, come back to one of these small things. Turn off the screens a little earlier. Let your bedroom be only a bedroom. Eat lightly, breathe gently. Go for a walk tomorrow, even just around the garden. You don't have to do it all. Just start where you are. And if something from this video has helped you, or reminded you of a habit you used to love, share it in the comments. You never know who might need to hear your story tonight. If you'd like to see more gentle conversations like this one, you're welcome to like the video or send it to someone who may need a better night's sleep too. Because even though we each sleep in our own room, our own bed, under our own roof, we're not alone in this. We're learning together, one quiet night at a time.